under Louis van Gaal, of course, rather than Jose Mourinho back in May. But before that day was out, cup final day was out, the news came out. Van Gaal was finished and Mourinho was in. Michael Oliver actually took charge of Chelsea's quarter-final last season when they were knocked out of the FA Cup at Everton. Well, whatever the result here, it will be an elite quartet in the semi-finals of the FA Cup, all from the current top six in England's Premier League. Chelsea trying to make it 3 out of 4 semi-finalists from the capital, with Arsenal on Saturday and Tottenham yesterday securing their spots, which would leave Pep Guardiola's City as the only representative from Manchester, but United hoping to join their Mancunian neighbours in the last 4 and stop it being a London majority in these semi-finals. Marcos Alonso. And here's Rashford. Valencia, who can push on and get an early cross in here, which is cut out by David Luiz. It's not the most authoritative clearance. In fact, it took his time getting out of play.
Well, it all came about because Jones won the ball off Hazard in a really good position. Valencia's going to play further forward down this right-hand side. He is a good right-sided player, gets crosses in. A good battle between him and Marcos Alonso.
Smalling forward. Rojo got his first Premier League goal a week or so ago. And there's always one keen to throw himself into where the boots might be flying and get his head to the ball.
He got away from Alonso. He's not even watching the ball there.
Well, they haven't started as fast, Chelsea, as they did here in the league game. They're already 1 up at this stage. They scored after 30 seconds through Pedro. And Jose Mourinho had to take a bit of a beating. With all the talk there, not so much talk now about how some of these Chelsea players seem to have downed tools after Mourinho's Chelsea won the title the season before last. Of course, they had such a poor campaign in defence of that title. Mourinho lost his job. Chelsea didn't even qualify for Europe, which has helped them in the Premier League and indeed the FA Cup as well. Played far fewer games. United have been travelling back from the Europa League game in Rostov, which has come thick and fast. Sometimes that can sharpen the A game, if you like. Sometimes it can just wear you out. Taken out there was Diego Costa.
Challenge from behind by Darmian, first of all, and then Rojo on Diego Costa. They do love that ball round the corner, Chelsea. Balls are played into their front players. They're always looking to play it forward into the front areas. It looks to me as though Manchester United are almost playing with a very narrow back 4. And at times it will be a back 6.
Darmian certainly on the left and Valencia on the right of 3 recognised central defenders. Willian, now Matic. And Hazard won't get that.
Just looking at the position of Ashley Young as well, he looks as though he's playing as an outside left. And Darmian's going to tuck right in alongside his 3 other centre-backs. And Valencia's going to play down the right-hand side. So he's just leaving those 2 midfield players, Pogba and Herrera, in support of Mkhitaryan, who's going to play up front alongside Rashford.
David De Gea has never kept a clean sheet in this stadium. And the way Chelsea have been going goals-wise, it's going to be a test for him to do so tonight, but this is the FA Cup where anything is possible. And I say United looking as though they've come here with a weaker hand than the Premier League leaders, but that might just play into their hands, that the expectation levels are a little bit lower. If we were to get a result here for Jose Mourinho, it'd probably go down as another Mourinho masterclass.
The crowd just had a little go at Diego Costa, who was sloppy with his ball into Kante. It was intercepted, so tried to win the ball back quickly here. Just a little bit late on Herrera.
This on for Rashford. And he's just run out of room. Certainly won some points with his manager, hasn't he, for stepping up and recognising that without Martial and Rooney with injuries and that Ibrahimovic suspension, with the FA panel ruling that his elbow on Tyrone Mings of Bournemouth Saturday before last was violent conduct, and Ibrahimovic did not contest the charge, by the way. Now, this is the first of 3 domestic games that he will miss. The other 2 will be in the Premier League. He can play in the Europa League. Cahill, one of the scorers in the 4-0. Hazard.
Looks as though Jones may even be doing a man-to-man marking job on Hazard.
Well, good luck with that. The Belgian's been in irresistible form this season, as he was 2 seasons ago, and as he wasn't last season. Just a bit of feeling out. United will have done a certain amount of work on the shape of this team, but probably not as much as Jose Mourinho would like. Here's Pogba. Rashford. In steps David Luiz. Matic back in the team tonight. Conte losing out. And Manchester United betting in. You feel every minute is helping them, and Antonio Conte probably wishing that his team could have one of those electrifying starts that United never recovered from here in October. The second Mourinho comeback match. He won the first when he was manager of Inter. And he's still much loved in these parts, although that love will take a lower profile with the Chelsea fans for this particular cup contest. Cahill. United do have the better record in the FA Cup meetings between the 2 clubs. Through 8 times to Chelsea's 3 in previous pairings.
Folks are defending well from the front so far. Mkhitaryan and Rashford not letting Chelsea play up from the back with any sort of comfort. And then when the ball does go into Willian and Hazard, they're getting really tight. Darmian that side, Jones this side. Certainly done his homework, Mourinho.
Pogba well forward. Here is Mkhitaryan. Jones. Now Valencia. Paul Jones missed out on the cup success last season. He wasn't fit. Pogba, of course, wasn't there. And Darmian didn't make the squad either. He's given away the free kick.
A couple of challenges now from behind. Fouls given, no bookings. That's quite right so far. Good little turn from Hazard.
Contact. Cahill. Marcos Alonso, Valencia sliding in. Questioning of the 4th official by Antonio Conte. Azpilicueta. Manchester United blocking off the spaces effectively at the moment, and here's Rashford.
Well, Mourinho has certainly highlighted Willian and Hazard as the danger men, and that's why they're getting so tight, and that's why they're playing with that narrow back four.
Valencia. Kicked in by Alonso, but controlled by Herrera. Diego Costa just trying to pick Phil Jones's pocket.
Maybe that they have to bypass those two players and get it into Costa, then Hazard and Willian can go and join in, because Jones is getting very tight to Hazard on this near side. Darmian with Willian on the other.
In steps Moses, does try to go long, but not to Costa to try and get Hazard in behind. Headed by Azpilicueta. Willian goes Chelsea's way. Willian on the receiving end. Here's David Luiz. Chelsea have really upped the ante, of course, in their search for trophies since Roman Abramovich came in 2003. It's been particularly conspicuous in the FA Cup. The last won it in 2012, certainly they won the Champions League as well. Here goes Rashford. He's quick, direct, confident. Mkhitaryan did it well, but not quite as true as he hoped the aim would be.
Good movement from Rashford, though. Pogba just helping the ball into space. Azpilicueta does well to come across to start with. But Rashford wins the ball back, tries to go back in at the near post. Mkhitaryan.
He's one who's had to earn the trust of Jose Mourinho. Certainly wasn't there in the early weeks of the season. And he's risen to the challenge. He knows exactly what's required of him. His manager, and when fit, he's more often than not in the starting 11. Pogba. He's having to deal with a certain amount of criticism. When you're the world's most expensive player, it comes with the territory, really. Especially when you're not someone who's going to score 20 or 30 goals. You're a hard-working midfield player. Bit of experience, outwitting youth, and a nice sporting rivalry there between David Luiz and Marcus Rashford.
You can see they're going to try and play that ball in behind Cahill. And Rashford to run down the side of David Luiz.
Into the feet of Diego Costa. Willian.
Darmian following him all across the field, but that's the ball I was talking about, into Costa. Then those other two players can get it facing the goal, start running with it.
It's not the first time he's come in like that in the opening 13 minutes. He's travelled a long way to do it this time, as you say, trying to keep Willian under wraps.
And he has to go through the legs of Willian to try and get the ball. Definite free kick. Next one, it'll be a booking for the Italian.
Probably just about on the limit for David Luiz, who has this excellent technique of striking the ball with his right foot in these free kick scenarios. Work for Willian. That was just off the cuff. Didn't quite catch United out. It was a consequence of David Luiz not really fancying taking the shot on. Hazard. into Diego Costa. Willian. Here's Conte, who got his Chelsea goal in the 4-0 win against Manchester United. One perhaps that they would back from that kind of distance.
He's getting a lot of applause from his manager. He's Marcus Rashford. He's worked really hard down this inside right channel. It wasn't a bad touch from me, but try and take him away from Cahill.
He certainly provides the threat, as he does at the other end, of course. Marcus Rashford does provide a direct threat. When the first news broke about Manchester United's travelling party down here to southwest London in the northwest of England, Marcus Rashford was on the list of absentees, and really did look bleak in an attacking sense for Jose Mourinho. Rojo.
Got to do better there, Diego Costa. A good ball played into him.
It's Cahill. That's what you do when it's played into your feet. Brilliant from Hazard. Chelsea threatening here. Hazard going all the way, and my goodness, that was the first real surge from the home team, and Hazard really all down to his own brilliance.
And it's the first time Jones has let him get away. It was Smalling that went to close him down. It's past the challenger Rojo, and it's a double. Same, I think, first of all, the block by Darmian, and then the right hand of De Gea. It looked like an important right hand as well. That was creeping in at the far post.
It's very different, Willian, with the braids. His corner. That's another brilliant save by David De Gea from Gary Cahill.
And they're absolutely right. He's only 8 yards out or so.
Moses. David Luiz missed it. Alonso, and Manchester United suddenly on the back foot. Chelsea finding their feet.
And it all came about because Hazard, to start with, that brilliant turn halfway inside Manchester United's half, just changed the complete picture.
Willian with the corner. The best hit from Moses. He's going to get another chance to play a part in Chelsea's creativity. David Luiz able to win the corner.
What a save it was from that man there. Cahill won the physical battle to get his shot away in the end. A lot of pushing and shoving going on in the box, particularly between these two players.
South American respect, and then that little shove at the end from Diego Costa, which was playful, I'm sure.
Now Darmian that's marking Diego Costa.
And Willian again. And Costa. A lot of movement towards the front post, leaving Costa as the deepest player. Thinking he might have got a corner, but that's not the case.
Well, there's that shot by Cahill. He wins the battle against Rojo. What a save it was. That was creeping in the corner.
I think goalkeepers always have a favoured side, don't they? We've seen twice already from David De Gea that plunge to his strong right hand.
I think he gets fingertips to it. Yes, he does, just enough. That's just as good as the second one.
Well, I wonder if the Chelsea do score, it'll be a bit quieter. That's bounced off referee Oliver to Manchester United's advantage. After those chastising words from Jose Mourinho back here in October. Which is a bit like the pot calling the kettle, but...
Didn't he once run down the field and go on his knees at Old Trafford?
He did it as manager of Porto, and I'm sure other times since in other games, but Jose's law. It's one that perhaps others aren't allowed to obey. What he's also been saying is how defensive Chelsea are, and they're amongst the highest scorers in the league. They've got the best defensive record in the Premier League. And tough to break down in this competition. But this is the first big test for both Chelsea and Manchester United in this season's FA Cup, with the greatest respect to the opponents for them in earlier rounds. It's Valencia's mistake. Hazard. Diego Costa, advantage played. And it went on for long enough that Michael Oliver didn't deem it sufficient to bring it back. Maybe has done it now. Shown the yellow card to Ander Herrera, who might just talk himself into further trouble.
He goes inside of Jones here, plays the ball. Does he just stand in his way? Does he lift his arm? I'm not sure. Let's have another look at it from this angle, where he just waits for him and just turns his elbow or his shoulder into him.
Didn't actually move, did he?
Doesn't have to get out of the way. Competitive midfield player.
He's very competitive. He's not built for the battle, if you see what I mean, on the physical side, but he knows how to look after himself.
He's another player that had to earn the respect of Mourinho and trust. Here's this turn again. What a turn that is to get away from Chris Smalling. Just opens up for him, goes past Rojo's, lunges in. Darmian got half a block in. That's the best moment of the game so far.
The star turn. Eden Hazard, who will always tell you he doesn't mind being fouled, because it is a compliment. He knows he's troubling the opposition, and he regards it almost as something that he expects from every game, and he wants to rise above it and deliver retribution in the proper way by scoring or making goals that help Chelsea to another victory.
Well played by Rashford again, closing down Kane. Now he's running in behind him.
Mkhitaryan. A bit of confusion between Chelsea players. And David Luiz and Matic rather left it to each other. Here's Rojo. Pogba. Ashley Young, who was a substitute in the FA Cup final.
There's the battle again. This time, as it has been for much of the first half, Jones getting really tight to Hazard. His one turn came against Chris Smalling. Certainly got a game plan here, Jose Mourinho.
Stop Hazard, and maybe you stop Chelsea.
Stop Hazard through Jones getting tight to him, and stop Willian through Darmian on the other side. So those two players in behind Diego Costa. Mourinho wants to stop those playing at all costs.
There's Diego Costa. Matic, who's never scored a goal for Chelsea here at Stamford Bridge. And that didn't threaten to end that sequence. He's played 8 times for Chelsea against Manchester United, never lost.
He's had a good season, but he's also found himself out the side because
the last couple of games, yeah.
Cesc Fabregas have been vying for the same position. I think Conte, when it's what he feels is going to be a physical game, he's Matic, and he thinks his team are going to dominate possession, he puts Fabregas into the side.
And that same really applies to the Pedro Willian axis as well, doesn't it? And both those changes made tonight. Rashford catching out David Luiz. Here's Young. Another Conte scraping it away. And as far as Mkhitaryan, Pogba, Darmian. Now Jones. Valencia. Nicely measured back by Herrera for Valencia. It's a very good crosser of the ball. And a slip by Moses that could have been a real problem for Chelsea. Rojo stepping in. Young. Couple of nice turns, but then trying a little bit too much. But in the part of the pitch where attacking players are encouraged to show off their finery. He got to the byline then.
There was a little spell in his career when he was playing for Aston Villa when he got into those situations and kept crossing balls into the box with his right foot. Carew, the centre forward, would often get on the end of them.
And that was the time that got him into the England team.
They've got Aston Villa up into the top 6 at that time.
Great plans for this stadium in the future. They've really made the most of it in recent years. It used to have a greyhound track round it. It was much more open and less intimidating once it's been squared off. It's a really hostile place for a visiting team to come, particularly if that visiting team is Manchester United. It's been a north-south rivalry. Played by N'Golo Kanté. Back by Smalling. Pogba trying to get it down. Chelsea going long again.
What we haven't seen from Chelsea, those switches of play from David Luiz out to the wing-backs. Valencia and Young are getting really tight, playing really wide to stop Moses and Alonso getting forward too quickly, too easily.
Chelsea who knocked out Peterborough in round 3. Ferguson with one of his old players, Alex McLeish. Old Aberdeen connection. As I say, Chelsea have knocked out Peterborough, Brentford and Wolves in the last round, the 5th round. Wolves who'd knocked out Liverpool at Anfield, so it wasn't a formality, and it was 2-0 to the Blues in the end. A bit closer than even that suggested. Certainly close here. Almost half an hour gone. 2 excellent saves from David De Gea. One of them from this fella. Nicely done by Willian. Here's Hazard. Rojo deciding to back off when he might have made the challenge. Pogba going in and getting the ball. The referee was very well placed. Michael Oliver's one of the fittest officials around, and he's really too far away from the scene of any contentious action. And here's Rashford. He's isolated David Luiz. Herrera arriving infield, and Pogba more towards the far post. Promising, but it just evaporated.
And there's that run again from Marcus Rashford in behind Cahill, trying to get down the side of David Luiz. I think you suggested it as you commentated. 1v1, he's isolated David Luiz. He didn't make the most of the situation. Could have run himself into the box. Made Luiz make a tackle.
Now he's chasing back at Gary Cahill. Gets more applause from Jose Mourinho. Certain to be in the England squad, which will be announced in a few days. With Harry Kane out, maybe for the rest of the season. Rooney, it seems, certainly not fit for this. A training ground injury with Phil Jones, we're told.
Pogba a good tackle on Hazard a little while ago. That one knocks a good. Leaning into Willian. Really influenced the game so far, Paul Pogba.
Trying to slip it through, but it's tight, narrow defending by Manchester United. Herrera's just going to be a little bit careful, having picked up that earlier booking. He's been sent off this season in a league game at home to Burnley. Diego Costa. Chelsea have won 15 of their 16 home games under Antonio Conte. The only blemish was a league defeat here in September to Liverpool. It's before they lighted up the system. 3 at the back, 4 across midfield, and 2 behind Diego Costa. It's really totally altered the complexion of their season. They've only been beaten 4 times in all matches, all of them in London, incidentally. Here's Hazard. And he certainly had every entitlement to take on the shot.
Again, good running. Just found that bit of space. Jones had been occupied elsewhere. He sees marking him there. Then he has to make the challenge against Matic. Now it leaves Hazard run past Rashford. Smalling doesn't get across quickly enough. He's just trying to hit this with power into the near post area. He's certainly been the threat, even though he's been tightly marked by Jones.
30 minutes gone. And the years gone by, it will be the first third of a 90-minute match, which would have a replay if it was level. That's not the case, let me remind you tonight. It happened in the semi-finals a while ago. Jose Mourinho knows enough about football history and now Manchester United history. The last semi-final replay was a famous one between United and Arsenal, 1999. Ryan Giggs scored the last ever goal in a semi-final replay. And a glorious goal it was. I think it's been voted the best ever goal in the FA Cup. Certainly the best in a semi-final. Here's Conte. It runs to Hazard, who has been the main threat for Chelsea so far. Diego Costa. Hazard again. Costa again. Conte. This is Victor Moses, who's recently signed a new long-term contract. Reward for what he's done this season in a new position for him as the right wing-back. Matic. United's throw.
A big job down that left-hand side, Ashley Young. United almost playing the 4-4-2. Got a very narrow back four, so he's got to cover a lot of ground. Ashley Young, the whole of the left-hand side of the field. Valencia likewise down the right.
Nothing to get the Chelsea fans absolutely up off their seats to this point, although Hazard's threatened to do that on a couple of occasions. Alonso. Hazard there again, holding off Jones again. Flick from Willian. Doesn't work out. Young. Blocked off by Conte, who supports down that far touchline. Willian. Now Cahill. Going to be a test of patience. David Luiz goes the direct route. We'll find Diego Costa is being well marshalled so far, certainly when he gets that close to the edge of the United penalty area.
The good thing about the two centre-backs for Manchester United, they're not trying to play offside, they're seeing the run of Costa and dropping off.
David Luiz. It's a lovely touch by Hazard again from Alonso's first ball in. Once again he was dumped down on the turf. David Luiz with the header. Pogba trying to return it with interest for United.
That little ball there that Hazard played round the corner, it's been instigated by the manager Antonio Conte. When he was at Juventus, he had Tevez and Llorente as the two front players, doing exactly the same sort of thing, linking up with each other.
Phil is a shout from Michael Oliver to Mr. Jones. He's in danger of getting a yellow card for persistent infringements.
He's been told to get as tight as he can when those straight balls are being played, but he has to slow himself down. Can't challenge from behind. He's almost got to go off the first touch and then try and win it.
I don't understand why Chris Smalling's called into that. You've got an English referee speaking to an English player. Why does the captain have to have any say about it? Maybe because the officials these days are trying to work through the captain a bit more to avoid being surrounded by other players.
Oh, it's a red card here.
Second for Herrera, he's off. And a real change to the storyline at Stamford Bridge. And Herrera gets 2 yellow cards, and now Chris Smalling is in danger. Well, he's got to try and sort it out. Mourinho is feeling that an injustice has been done his way. Stuart, what do you think?
Well, what's happened here, he said to Smalling, the next player that brings him down, I'm going to book him. And that's what as soon as he gave the yellow card, he looked to Smalling and said, I told you so, the next one is going to get booked, and it happened to be Herrera. So straight away, Mourinho's going to make a change.
And Herrera sent off for the second time this season.
It's a late challenge. It's a bit of a dive as well, but he's beaten too easily, sticks out his right foot. It's a foul. And as a result, the referee's just said to Chris Smalling, the next player that fouls Hazard is going to get a yellow card. He's been fouled far too often in this game so far. And you can see why the referee gives him the yellow card. He can laugh as much as he likes. It's a silly challenge from Herrera.
Well, it swings Antonio Conte's way. He's protesting. That was an earlier reaction as the foul was made. Ashley Young not going to change things by eyeballing the referee.
We're asking why Chris Smalling was brought to the referee.
That was why, yeah. And Mkhitaryan's going to be sacrificed here to get Marouane Fellaini on. It's not going to get any less physical.
Not quite sure what his role is going to be. Ending this set play to start with.
And Chelsea need to keep their heads. Willian takes and David De Gea opts to punch it away. Moses tries to fire it back and De Gea is down. And United fans behind the goal believe that they saw something that should have the referee reaching for his pocket again.
He's just getting some information off his assistant referee there. Who goes into David De Gea? There's not too much wrong with that, is there?
Certainly not a red card offence.
Smalling's holding on. Costa's almost... Well, it's not even jumped into him, has he? He's put his arm up to protect himself, but that's particularly good technique from De Gea, just going with one hand.
No, and he got to dig in the ribs, really. Of course, they are Spain international teammates, even though Costa hails originally for Brazil and played a couple of internationals for his country of birth. It's going to test his tactical genius now.
They're not too happy with the situation at the moment, are they, Manchester United fans?
Herrera will get a 2-game suspension for that. 2 yellow cards is 1, but he's already been sent off before this season. So again, that applies to domestic matches.
Again, you mentioned he's got to be careful. And there straight away, he had another silly challenge, stuck his right leg out against the player of Hazard's quality that's twisted and turning, and down he went.
Fellaini, back by David Luiz. Well, remember, Manchester United had a player sent off in the FA Cup final. It was Chris Smalling. And with 10 men, they still went home with the cup.
And Fellaini's just got into where Herrera was playing. just means they're going to play with one up front rather than the two they had when Mkhitaryan was on the field.
Cahill. Valencia catching Marcos Alonso. It's not seen as a foul, or that's an advantage played by Michael Oliver. Here's Diego Costa. Hazard. Now Matic. Hazard again. Willian. Also trying to work a position here. Draw United out of the middle. Conte. That's fired off target by Moses.
Once again, you see it quite often now. Player on the angle trying to hit it hard and high into the near post area. Beat the goalkeeper for power. Just gets too much height on it. Victor Moses. There's a late challenge from Valencia, was it?
Well, there's plenty going on down in the technical area, I can tell you that. Plenty. Mike Jones trying to keep the peace.
You might have a hard job.
There is a danger that there will be more dismissals, maybe not from the field of play, but from the technical area alongside it. Mourinho's already had I think 3 spells in trouble since he joined Manchester United. Antonio Conte won't flinch if there is a...
The body language was quite interesting there as the referee was talking to them both. They weren't going to look at each other.
Yeah, as we said earlier, there has been that history of the previous game. But that was 4-0, this is 0-0. Manchester United down to 10 men. Jones. Rashford. Pogba. And 3 are always likely to get the better of 1. Here's Moses. Conte goes outside him. Willian is like that flick tonight, and he's bursting onto it here. Nothing in that. He's not complaining either.
Great understanding combination play between Willian and Diego Costa. Quite often it's Hazard and Diego Costa. These 3 really work well together, and Pedro when he's playing.
Yes, you just wonder whether in the circumstances, even this early in the evening, Antonio Conte might be thinking about getting Fabregas on to provide just a bit more craft to add to what Hazard has brought to the game so far. He's undoubtedly the outstanding individual player of the evening and the one that has caused all the problems to Manchester United. Azpilicueta. Hazard lets it run. Matic. Delaney, the latest to try and stop his Belgian compatriot. Half away by Smalling. And Rashford. And Cahill always seemed to be losing his balance, and whether he was responsible for Rashford being brought down there, certainly Mourinho thinks so.
It should be a booking as well. He's actually done very well, Rashford. He's falling to the ground, he actually just grabs hold of Rashford. His movement's been good, his enthusiasm. Not so long ago where Mourinho was throwing his arms up in disgust on occasions when Rashford didn't keep hold of the ball or didn't make the right defensive run.
Hazard. With the air of a man who believes he's got the beating of the opposition. David Luiz. Diagonal towards Marcos Alonso, who's been quite an attacking threat since he came into the side, and they switched to the wing-back system. Azpilicueta. Chelsea determined to make the most of what remains in this first half. Not going to do it quite like that. Vic, not that quick.
I think he wanted him to start his run a bit earlier. He stopped as Spinacqueta played the ball.
Here's Pogba. It's a bit tentative from David Luiz. Now Manchester United to get up the field. The first task is to get in at half-time and have a rethink. But the score's still level. There's going to be a couple of minutes to be added before that can happen, and they're in a position maybe to fashion a now less likely first goal. Here's Fellaini. And 2 minutes. One of the easier tasks for the fourth official.
They certainly came, well, he came with a game plan. It's worked to a certain degree. But the player sent off is going to make it very difficult for him now.
I really take your point, Stuart, about Chris Smalling being told the next one, but does he have a responsibility then to tell his players? Because Herrera clearly wasn't aware of that.
And also the manager has to take some responsibility as well. I think he's probably said before the game, make sure you don't let Hazard get turned, get tight to him.
That's still a test for Chelsea, this. Because now the weight of expectation, which was on their shoulders at the start because of, if you like, their better preparation, their more serene build-up to this quarter-final, and now they've got the extra man. But United will do all they can to frustrate the best efforts of Antonio Conte's very successful Chelsea side in this, his first season in the job, as it is for Mourinho in his job, but of course Conte's first season in English football. Mourinho with a mountain of experience, all garnered here with Chelsea.
I think we may see Fabregas,
I would have thought so,
come on after half-time, just to add that little bit of creativity with his passing.
Maybe Pedro as well, and that was obviously, if you like, the way Conte decided to look at the challenge, that he needed players that perhaps were more reliable in a physical sense. I mean, Pedro's been excellent in the home games in particular, so perhaps that was a slightly less predictable call. Maybe predictable here, the kind of rivalry between Mourinho's United and the club that he used to manage. Eden Hazard has been absolutely outstanding, and because of that, it's led to Michael Oliver having to show 2 yellow cards to Ander Herrera. David De Gea made 2 excellent saves early on, diving to his right from Hazard and then from Cahill. And at half-time, remember, with the possibility here in the first match of extra time and penalties, got to be decided tonight. But after 45 minutes, it's Chelsea 0, Manchester United 0. Problems, Stuart, I guess are pretty similar for Chelsea. Manchester United have changed their personnel once since the sending off, but the actual defensive side of their game looks pretty similar.
It's not going to change at all. They're just going to play with the one up front, and they'll probably allow Cahill to have a lot of the ball. Azpilicueta, neither of them, would you say, are really creative centre-backs who are going to come out with the ball and open up defences. They need some big performances now, Mourinho's men, from the likes of Pogba and this man here, Fellaini.
Willian. Free kick goes United's way.
Pogba losing out. Fellaini battling hard to win it back. Could have been given either way. Probably said that was a free kick to Chelsea. But they've got the free kick, Manchester United, and of course Fellaini will be a target.
And Ashley Young is going to surely plant it in the general direction of the substitute. Isn't quite what he intended. He has to go back and make Jones scamper. Confirmation of the Chelsea team as Fabregas does warm up, not picked in the starting 11. And then here, Matic gets his place back, and Willian referred to Pedro. Pogba. On for Mkhitaryan. Just to make sure that that defensive discipline stays in place, and Mourinho will be hoping that the 10 men can rise to the occasion. And in a tight game like this, maybe one might just be enough. Get into the last four, where Manchester City are already, and Chelsea's London rivals Arsenal and Tottenham. N'Golo Kanté. Moses. Young trying to see him off, and he played more regularly as a defensive player in the last couple of years, and in a wide attacking position with which he made his name with, first of all, Watford and then Aston Villa.
He certainly defended well in a 1v1 situation there against Victor Moses.
Fellaini did well. Now Rashford. Losing out to Kanté. Off goes Hazard again. Fellaini trying to stay with him. And here comes Azpilicueta, trying to make use of the extra man. There's a very thoughtful ball. If Diego Costa could have just helped it on its way, it might have been 1-0 Chelsea.
Take back what I said about Azpilicueta not being the most creative player. That was a really good ball he played in.
Here's Matic. Willian. Young able to clear. Alonso. It's part of a famous semi-final win for Sunderland at the expense of Manchester United in the League Cup 3 years ago. His previous spells in English football, the Spaniard. Azpilicueta forward again. Going to have a go himself. Not quite so creative that time.
Well, he's got the freedom of the park. When you're playing with three centre-backs and Manchester United are only playing with one up front, he can keep coming forward. Keep getting the switches of play out to him because Ashley Young's going really wide.
Always spottable in a crowd. David Beckham definitely backing the red side of this particular fixture. Matic. It's nicely found. Hazard. And Darmian trying to stick to his quarry. In by Moses, Azpilicueta, Conte. Costa, look at the line of red shirts that they've got to try and break through. Chelsea keep the ball, but have to go backwards to come at United again. Alonso, Cahill, now Matic, Willian, Conte, he winds up to have a go! Chelsea break through. Six minutes into the second half. Well, he scored his only previous goal against Manchester United in the Premier League game here back in October. And he's found the right kind of shot early in the second half as the 11 take the lead against the 10.
Well, they were defending really deeply. Pogba, could he have got out there that little bit quicker? Just wraps his foot round it. Conte. You can see David De Gea's going one way, he's moving his feet as the shot comes in, he can't get back across. But you'd like to see Paul Pogba, maybe even Rojo, racing out to get a block in. Got so many men back.
Well, it was the surprise factor, I think, that got the better of David De Gea as well, who's made two outstanding saves down to his right at the other end.
You saw from that angle behind the goal, he was moving one way just as the shot came in, then couldn't adjust his feet quickly enough and get the length in the dive.
Well, you also saw the popularity. It's not just because he scored to make the breakthrough here, N'Golo Kanté. They've really taken the France midfield player to their hearts after they captured him from Leicester City in towards Fellaini. Up goes the flag. And there's an offside in that.
And that's one thing you can't be offside.
First offside of the game, maybe.
A wry smile from Mourinho. He knows it's going to be difficult for him now. They were set up to try and stop Chelsea playing.
Well, they were set up against the players that really threatened to score. Now we've had Azpilicueta have an effort coming forward and a decent pass from a forward position as well. And as if to say, well, let him shoot, we'll be all right. Let Conte shoot and we'll be all right, even though they paid a price for doing that in the league game here back in the autumn. Pogba. So the gauntlet well and through it, he's thrown down to the holders now. They're going to need some heroes if they're going to keep their chances of retaining the famous trophy.
All the time that Rashford's on the field, one ball over the top, his pace may just get him in at some point. What a good strike it was. Didn't hit through the back of it, he actually wrapped his foot round it, bent it into the corner.
Kept on going away from De Gea's dive.
The only other way they're going to get up the field, Manchester United, is if they stick Fellaini a bit closer to Rashford and start playing longer balls so he can win them in the air. Otherwise it's going to be a very difficult second period for Manchester United here.
Azpilicueta free to come forward again. Moses. And Willian took his eye off the ball. Maybe it's now going through Antonio Conte's mind about whether he'll need the creativity that Fabregas or Pedro will bring. They've got a man advantage and now a goal advantage.
I'm not sure anybody inside the ground expected him to shoot when the ball came to. You expect him to play it out wide, and I think, as you mentioned, that's what called out David De Gea as well. The all-round player now, isn't he?
What a player he has become. And Paul Pogba, for all his reputation, of course, a fellow international, and knows all about Conte and their games together with France. But Pogba with a reputation that spread far and wide. Conte has just come really almost from nowhere over the last 18 months or so. Certainly one season with Leicester, wins the league. Two-thirds of the season with Chelsea, who are in a pole position to win the league and still going strong in the FA Cup. Conte again. Aspilicueta again able to come forward, but he's got to improve his shooting. One or two of his teammates giving him rather old-fashioned looks.
What you can say is he's understood the position really well. He knows he's the spare player. He's not just sitting back, he's breaking into midfield, he's finding that bit of space. He's now got to find that next pass or next shot.
10 minutes gone in the second half, profitable for Chelsea. It's more where Conte does his work. Here's Matic. Hazard, Costa. Matic. And out by Young.
And back to your point about bringing Fabregas on, they'll probably keep Matic on to go against Fellaini in the air.
He is going against Fellaini on the ground. Alonso, Hazard. Willian. And he was a bit more positive than those trying to stop him. Alonso. Diego Costa. Yeah, Moses was coming back from an offside position. Didn't get back in time. Stuart Burt with the flag. This is now a test of the mental and physical strength of Manchester United, who have travelled a lot, have played 12 more games than Chelsea in various competitions this season. Already with the silverware of the League Cup, the EFL Cup, and of course the Community Shield against N'Golo Conte's old club Leicester, right at the start of the campaign. Mourinho, if he's in it, he wants to win it, and there'll be no slackening of his demands of his players. Try and get the goal that might send us to extra time.
Well, suggests he needs a little bit more out of Paul Pogba.
Well, one substitute already used. But Juan Mata, of course, knows the stadium so well. Jesse Lingard, is the Wembley specialist. Might be an option to try and get Manchester United to Wembley again in the semi-finals, of course, which in this competition are played over one weekend, the two games back-to-back. Here's Rashford. Can he get away here past Gary Cahill? It's all down to Marcus Rashford. It's a fantastic run, and Thibaut Courtois stops what would have been a sensational Manchester United response from this starlet that they have.
Well, the mistake was by David Luiz, who tries to win it in front of Rashford. One ball over the top, now he's running at Cahill. Goes past Cahill far too easily, but a good save from Thibaut Courtois. Could he have passed it into the corner? I think he just tried to hit it with power. But there's the threat to Chelsea. And could there be a threat from that man there, Fellaini or Smalling in the air?
First to it was Hazard, and Chelsea set up for the counter-attack here. Conte about the release of the ball at the right time, in the right place. It's Matic. The Blues are massing in the middle. Willian. Now Hazard. And Manchester United mighty relieved from their own corner to escape from not going 2-0 down and only conceding a corner when it could have easily been a second goal conceded.
And the pass from Conte wasn't quite good enough to Matic. It just held up the move and he had to cross it. Willian tried his best to get it back on target. There was a threat. We saw it against West Ham last week.
Willian to take the corner. What a free header. And again, Diego Costa, who actually hasn't headed many goals for Chelsea. I think only 4 of his Premier League goals, 49 of them have been headers. But this was one which really he should have gobbled up.
Well, Darmian isn't marking him properly at all. It's an easy run. There's a bit of blocking going on by David Luiz, but Darmian's starting position was all wrong. There was no way he was going to get to Costa. Should do better, really.
he knows it was a very good chance, and he knows that Marcus Rashford has just reminded him, if he didn't know, that this is not over yet. The second Chelsea goal in these circumstances, and it might be. Cahill.
I think Marcus Rashford has played the role as the lone striker brilliantly throughout the game. He started off with Mkhitaryan up front. That changed when Herrera was sent off, but he's been a constant threat with his movement and pace.
Willian. Pogba struggling to stay with him. Hazard on three towards him. Alonso. Matic. Must have knocked over on the edge of the area, complaining to the assistant. Chelsea play on. Azpilicueta. Kanté. Matic. Hazard. Now Willian. Kanté being encouraged to shoot again. Moses. Azpilicueta goes down the outside. Moses almost beats himself. Azpilicueta gets in the cross, well dealt with by Rojo. Cleared by Young, but only as far as Matic. That penalty area ring-fenced by Chelsea at the moment. Willian. Kanté can hit it again this time. Chooses not to. Willian! Oh, that's close. But Diego Costa still complaining that he'd been knocked over a few seconds prior to that.
It's patient from Chelsea, but also they're looking for that. Fellaini gets across and stops Kanté getting the shot in, but he then just squares it. That's exactly what Willian was looking to do. Just wrap his foot round it and bend it into that far corner. Doesn't come down in time. Here's the moment. Well, both are having a little go, aren't they?
And Diego Costa certainly not an innocent party in that. It was a bit of a theatrical fall.
Oh, had his hand right across the face of Rojo for a little while there.
And there's Azpilicueta coming forward again. Moses. Young once more defending with character. Hazard. Matic. Into Costa, all a bit tight in there. Well, Pogba could have done better. He was not very strong at all. And Costa tries to punish him for it. Tackled by Rojo. No great appeals from the other Chelsea players. Oh, the Pogba was worried about giving away a free kick in the first place, or maybe even a penalty. This was the...
He gets beaten easily. Should shoot here, Costa. Just takes another touch. He's actually going down before the challenge even comes in. Rojo goes to ground, but then just sticks out his right leg. A good challenge in the end.
If it stays at 1-0, it could still be nervy for Chelsea. But, the advantage of no replay when one team is depleted, obviously considerable, even at the start, with Manchester United being short of some of their main strikers. They might have come and settled for just a holding operation and take it back to Old Trafford. That option not available to quarter-finalists now. And rather like the league title itself, this is Chelsea's to lose tonight. Hazard. Fortunately for Manchester United, the shooting from that kind of range hasn't quite matched up to the one from N'Golo Kanté.
What a moment he had here. David Luiz dives in. Cahill's got to show him down the outside, allows him to come inside, and he's always backing into the box, Cahill. It's a great opportunity. Maybe a couple of years down the line, he'd just pass that into the corner. Brilliant pace. Really good in the 1v1 situation. Not the finish he was looking for.
Such has been the Rashford fairy tale. It was a little bit of a surprise that he didn't convert it. Here's Hazard. In the right place to defend was Jones. Chelsea still looking for the second, which surely will settle it in their favour. shot count telling you what advantage they have, but not all those shots. You can see 12 of them not on target.
A lot of them coming from players that you wouldn't think of getting shots away that often.
Matic. Here's Pogba. Put in by Azpilicueta. Matic is running through Fellaini. And Diego Costa is offside.
Got to get up. Just get up and get on with it. He's claiming he took a whack from Rojo there. Whistle had already gone. He's trying to win the ball back.
How tight was the offside call?
Tight, but the right one. He knew it was coming as well. He has a little look. Rojo trying to win the ball back.
Obviously the whistle had gone.
Who puts his leg into who here? It's nothing. Something in nothing, really.
And Diego Costa has learnt some English. Forward by Rojo. Here's contact. But those signs of histrionics are what weakens his case, really. Trying to be recognised on a wider front. He's having a very good season, of course, with 18 goals, 17 of them in the Premier League, and the one that wrapped up the victory at Wolverhampton in the 5th round of the FA Cup. Azpilicueta. Moses wedging out across, and David De Gea wasn't sure. It was in that awkward area where there is a bit of uncertainty for goalkeepers. It was in the air a long time. There was a lot of backpedaling to be done, and the safer option was to leave it to the defender Jones. Hazard. David Luiz hooks it in rather than shoots. Willian, he'll have a crack. Also was trying to get his head to the deflection, and it's cleared by Smalling. They're finding it hard to do much more than defend at the moment, Manchester United.
Well, Rashford's having to go deep as well. He's almost playing in the inside left position, on the left wing at times.
All Chelsea. Matic, Willian. Costa, Hazard.
Still having a little go, Rojo and Costa. Both looking at the referee.
There they are again. And Costa's rolled away from the Argentine. Came off Darmian. Retrieved quickly by Hazard. That's good one-on-one defending by Darmian. At least bought his team a little bit of time. Costa for Hazard, who's almost past Darmian this time. There's cover from Rojo. Still over 20 minutes left as Manchester United try and soak up this pressure and maybe find one more opportunity for the willing Rashford, or a set piece. Sitting deep and saying to Chelsea, well, we've only broken this down with a shot from the edge of the area. We're going to hang on in this contest and see if we can find something a bit more adventurous late on, but they know shipping a second goal and it's curtains.
They're sitting deep, but they're not getting tight enough to the ball to put challenges in at times. It's too easy for Chelsea just to play in front of them.
Moses. Contact, turns away from Fellaini. Again, it's very good defending by Jones.
Really good play from Conte again. Talk about him being the all-round play, made the right run, then just changed his pace to get away from Fellaini. Good ball into the box. Excellent defending by Jones, the right back.
Darmian marking Diego Costa again, Smalling on David Luiz. Willian fires it across. Being quite connected, as he was trying to do, retrieved by Costa. Moses trying to turn on his power, and he's got plenty of it. A good strong challenge by Smalling.
When he's actually running with the ball, he's better when he plays on the left-hand side. That's where he's had most of his success throughout his career. When he's playing on the left, he's got the option to come in on his right foot or go down the outside. It's not quite so comfortable on the right.
He's learned to defend on his right-hand side, hasn't he? And Antonio Conte didn't see him when he said to him at the start of the season, "I want you to stay, you're not going out on loan again." Good header again by Jones. He didn't see him in this, but he didn't see the formation shaping up as it has done. Came out of adversity. I'm sure I probably don't need to remind you. Well, it's Manchester United with the adversity tonight. They were 3-0 down at Arsenal in the league game, Chelsea, and going nowhere. So damage limited by going to the three at the back. Started the next game with it, and the whole season turned on its head. Only lost one league game since then. Manchester United have only lost one of their last 28.
Surprise was that he didn't go with the back three at the start of the season, because that's what he did for Italy, that's what he did for Juventus. I think because he didn't feel as though he had the wing-backs.
He didn't have Alonso at the time, did he, right at the beginning? Got him. He did have Victor Moses. Azpilicueta actually was used as a wing-back in that game at Arsenal for half an hour, and then found himself as one of the back three, but he's well forward in these circumstances. Now Willian! De Gea just standing tall and beating it away.
That's that strike I was talking about earlier. Players now on the angle, just try and hit it as hard as they can. Hit the goalkeeper with pace, high into the near post. Good reaction from David De Gea.
Willian's next job is to take the corner. Chelsea haven't looked particularly threatening from the set pieces. There was a time, of course, when John Terry and Ivanovic were in the team, along with Cahill. Every delivery into the box was a danger to the opposition. Ivanovic gone. Terry a substitute. Maybe in the next couple of months winding down his career at this club, although not been ruled out. He might get yet another year. He's 36 now. Cahill. Costa. Azpilicueta again, the spare man. Cleared by Jones. Fellaini. Darmian. Now Moses. Young having a nibble at him. Pogba trying to do the closing down. Chelsea had to draw United across and then change the angle of attack. Hazard. Valencia, the latest to commit a foul on the outstanding individual in this match. It's taken probably a different tone to the one that was expected when the draw was made. Initially because of Manchester United being without the likes of Ibrahimovic and Martial and Wayne Rooney, who's not an automatic choice these days. And then in this first half with the sending off of Ander Herrera for 2 yellow cards, 2 fouls on Hazard, and Willian has got past Rojo. Here's Alonso. Hazard. United looked as though they were opened up. They've recovered. And it stays at 1-0.
Outstanding play from Willian. Good movement from Diego Costa in the box. Look at that for a little touch. Rojo flies in, picks out the right pass, the right run as well from Diego Costa. Just beats him for pace, misses it with the inside of his left foot. Any sort of touch, that's in. But the awareness and the understanding between the two players was excellent as he got into the crossing position. Probably didn't need to play it quite as hard in the end, Willian.
Well, 15 minutes to go for the master manager. Try and find something from a difficult set of circumstances to keep Manchester United in the FA Cup and stop his old club progressing. Of course, he won the FA Cup as manager of Chelsea against United in 2007. Didier Drogba, late winner. First final at the new Wembley. Pogba.
At the moment, I'd imagine Jose Mourinho is looking at this game more with hope and expectation. Side are now struggling to get out of their own half. Had the one big chance with Rashford. What a chance it was as well, all made by him.
Ashley Young just finding that David De Gea was maybe a little bit off his line. Young frustrated that that's gone behind for a corner. He thought he'd diffused the situation.
I think he's frustrated that David De Gea didn't dive for it.
David Luiz has goals against Manchester United on his CV in the past. Rojo manhandling in there. If they ever do bring in the video replays that we're told will be experimentally used in English football in the FA Cup from the third round from next season, I don't know how you're going to sort out what happens at corners. Free kick to Chelsea.
Sani jumped into the challenge. He won the ball, Valencia. As soon as that was reckless, the referee jumping in. Is there to be one more chance?
Oh, you're in Mourinho's position now, Stuart. What would you do?
I think you have to play Fellaini up front. You have to be a bit more adventurous. That could easily have been a sending off. We saw Rojo at Crystal Palace make that sort of challenge.
Here's Young.
I think he's trying to just stay in the game at the moment, and then in the last 10 minutes he might have to be more adventurous, get his wide players higher up the field, get Fellaini playing up alongside Rashford.
Yellow card for Young. It's a bit of a jump in as well.
I feel as though everything's going against them here, just losing their discipline.
Well, it's getting to a desperate situation for the holders.
See
Jesse Lingard, yeah.
And Juan Mata, I think, is getting himself changed as well.
Only 2 replacements left for Jose Mourinho, unless, of course, it goes to extra time. And then he gets another one, which he might be happy to use just to bail out some of those who've been fighting with 10 minutes. It is time for Cesc Fabregas. For Chelsea, FA Cup winner against Manchester United with Arsenal. 12 long years ago now. He was a teenager then. Hazard. Darmian's got to be careful. Pogba coming in. Hazard releases it well to Matic. With the option of just letting Diego Costa take that from him. Conte grabbed back by Pogba.
Had the best of games, Paul Pogba. I think some of the criticism he's received this season has been unfair, but not influenced it at all. That's a cynical challenge. He's certainly had the better of him.
It's Willian who's going off. Chelsea hope there's 10 minutes left. United want to use that 10 minutes if they can. At least take it to extra time. And the arrival shortly of Lingard, who scored the winning goal in the FA Cup final, no less, back in May.
Certainly gives them a bit more pace on the counter-attack with Lingard coming on.
Ashley Young just booked. Gives way to Lingard, who's got plenty of energy and makes good runs. He's a natural footballer in the sense that he takes up positions where you think, has he actually thought that out, or has it just happened? And he's got that real feel as a natural footballer. He's done very well in the big games. He's actually also scored a goal in a league game here against Chelsea, not this season, but last. Here he is.
It's just a straight swap, really. It's come on for Ashley Young on this near side.
Pogba. Forward comes Jones. And Valencia taking on Alonso. Not once but twice. In first time by Phil Jones. Moses is rather headed up in the air. Conte went for it, comes out to Pogba! Another sight of goal for Manchester United. There have been precious few of them in the second half for the 10 men.
That was his moment. I think he did the ball particularly well, Chelsea. First touch is good. He has a little look to see if there's a pass on. It wasn't. Just doesn't quite make the perfect contact with it.
Costa again trying to make the most of a collision. Fellaini, which is how he is going to go a bit further forward now.
I just think he needs to release the fullback. Jones is still playing narrow and he's not marking anybody. Darmian likewise here. He's up against Hazard now, but he could play that little bit wide. He could be tighter rather than asking Lingard to come back and deal with it. He should be closing it down.
Hazard taking on Lingard. Back for Moses. And now Fabregas, and he slips at the crucial moment.
For the run from Cesc Fabregas. Didn't make the most of it once he got there.
Well, they were in this kind of trouble in the final against Crystal Palace. Somehow they managed to conjure up a victory from the jaws of defeat, Manchester United, to lift the FA Cup. For the first time for 12 years, and the 12th time in all. A premature dance of celebration from Alan Pardew, the Palace manager, when Jason Punchin gave them the lead. But this is Chelsea, a different kettle of fish, with the greatest respect to Crystal Palace. This is the side that are carrying all before them in the Premier League, the side that's got no European football to distract them or tire them out. Hazard flying in was Rojo, who has not shirked a challenge tonight, and he's not shirking the challenge of trying to find an equaliser, going up alongside Rashford. Chelsea will feel there will be a gap or two now, and this might be one of them. Hazard couldn't rein it in. Alonso, and Valencia did well, because there would have been a tap-in in the middle for Eden Hazard.
Good counter-attack again. Valencia getting back into a good position from his right wing position, making sure he tracked the run of Hazard. It all came about. Rojo was pressing the ball higher up the field, and suddenly there was a bit of space for Diego Costa to get himself turned.
Short corner from Chelsea. Fabregas. Azpilicueta. Back to the goal scorer, and at the moment cast as the match winner, N'Golo Kanté. David Luiz. Chelsea saying, we're going to keep it, we can do this for as long as you want, or as long as there's left in the game, if you're not going to come and try and win the ball off us. But one slip. Fabregas. Now Azpilicueta. Fellaini realising that some work's got to be done to try and get the ball back for United. Fabregas. Fellaini it past Pogba to Diego Costa. Matic. Hazard. Into Costa. Rojo relishing the chance to have a go at his main adversary tonight, and again, and maybe again. This turns up on the deck. Chelsea end up with Fabregas going forward still. Hazard. Costa's back on his feet, no surprise in that. Conte.
He's almost inviting the challenge of Rojo to come in.
Yeah, come in and get yourself sent off. But Rojo was too clever for that. And here's Moses having a go on the inside. A weaving run. Hazard. Jones stopping him having a sight of goal. Back with Alonso. Now Diego Costa. Poor touch and a late challenge, and that'll be a yellow card for him. He's saying something along the lines that I've been fouled a lot of times and you haven't booked any of them. But it was something he wasn't quite capable of, and Jones looking to get it forward as far as possible, as quickly as possible.
And he's just late. He was trying to block the ball being played to Rashford, who had made the run in behind Azpilicueta. Been playing on the edge tonight with Rojo.
So Victor Moses has not gone the distance in recent games. Well, that's going to be the case here.
There's the man that's scored the goal. What a good goal it was from distance. Something you don't really expect from him.
The little man who plays as if he's two in midfield. A gentle, humble figure who, in the car park where you see all the flash motors that the top pros have, he has a little Mini that says in keeping with his physical stature. Kurt Zouma is on for Victor Moses, and Manchester United got players forward here, Pogba being one of them. 2 minutes plus stoppage time to go.
It's an important header from Zouma, having just come on.
Got injured just over a year ago against Manchester United, a cruciate knee ligament injury that kept him out for many months. Jones, the holders desperate now for some moment of inspiration to stay in the FA Cup. Lingard, tracked by Azpilicueta, played for the whole of the second half with 10 men. Smalling. Rojo. Rashford.
Azpilicueta now playing as the right wing back. Zouma's gone in alongside the other two centre backs.
David Luiz, one of them, wins the header. Fabregas trying to express himself, Hazard likewise. They haven't got the second goal to put Manchester United out of their misery. Azpilicueta. Fabregas. Alonso. I bounce back off the Spaniard for a goal kick. 90th minute. We'll wait to see what the board will tell us. Fellaini flicks it on, and certainly Pogba made a good supporting run. He has looked weary tonight, Paul Pogba, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. I said earlier on, I think he's had some unfair criticism. I think he's run some games that I've seen, but today he's looked off the pace. He's been outplayed by Conte.
4 more. Chelsea give the ball away. Darmian, Rashford. take on Azpilicueta, and he's got past him. David Luiz guarding the near post. Manchester United not finished yet. Rojo. Damian, good movement from Lingard behind Azpilicueta. Led by Zuma this time.
He's had to make a couple of important clearances, Zuma. Azpilicueta doesn't look quite so happy playing as right wing back.
Damian's throw. Smalling, only giving it to Fabregas. Chelsea know that United will be short of numbers at the back. Diego Costa against Phil Jones. Fabregas steps in, comes out to Hazard. Fabregas. It's a terrific commitment by Manchester United again. And by Marcus Rojo, when Chelsea were just picking their moment to make it 2-0.
It's a good save. Since Fabregas takes his time, gets his shot away. It's a save he should make, it's the right height for him. Pushes it away from immediate danger.
Matic. Valencia, who is on the edge. Made that out of control challenge earlier. 2 added minutes left. Antonio Conte on the verge of a place in the semi-finals of the FA Cup in his first season at the club. They're 10 points clear in the Premier League. They are, at the moment, England's outstanding team. Plenty of competition. Fabregas. There's Cahill. Swept forward by Matic. He loves to make the full complement of substitutions. There's Antonio Conte.
He knows his numbers come up on the board, and he's walking away as far as he can. Take as much time up here. Diego Costa, I wouldn't say he's been at his best, but a really good battle. Alongside or up against Rojo.
Well, they haven't been in full voice, the Chelsea fans, tonight, because it's been a game that, because of the circumstances, both before it started and before it got to half-time, there's been a huge sense of expectation that Chelsea should win it. They're close to achieving that now against an old adversary. Batshuayi is confined pretty much to roles as a substitute. That's Cahill. Drops United's way. Forward by Lingard. Now Fellaini. Valencia gives it to Rojo. Batshuayi dispossesses him. Hazard loses out to Marcus Rojo.
Got to go forward from United, win the first ball, or certainly win the knockdowns.
Fellaini gets his head to it. Conte gives it back to Manchester United. Rojo, Fellaini. Here's Rashford. Cleared by Matic. Batshuayi battling. Conte's there again. And that really should be that. Stuart, your thoughts?
Well, the game changed, obviously, with the sending off. Manchester United have tried to defend with numbers and good organisation, but Chelsea have just had too much for them. And once they scored that first goal, they've just been able to keep possession. And they've created a whole host of chances, but they've been the better side once again.
And in the Cup, it just matters whether you win, not how you play. They haven't been at their best. N'Golo Conte, who'd only ever scored one previous goal for Chelsea, and it was against Manchester United in the Premier League, has done it against them here. He had plenty of support in that league game, but it was the only one tonight, early in the second half. Manchester United hit hard by the 2 yellow cards dished out by Michael Oliver to Ander Herrera. And it was a case of soaking up pressure with 10 men in the second half, hoping that they could break and stay in the competition. And Marcus Rashford had that one chance which he manufactured brilliantly for himself but couldn't take. Pogba likewise had a late shot as well. But Jose Mourinho is out. He's been knocked out by his former club. And Manchester United have lost their grip on this famous trophy. There are 3 London teams in the last 4, and one of them is Chelsea. Chelsea 1, Manchester United 0.